Sitting up in the chair, it looks like I've got the biggest shirt on ever, Dave, but I haven't. I've just got one like you, but I've got a nicer camera than you. That's what it is. There we go.
Nicer camera, or you're just a big bodied? I don't know. I'm
Well, I'm
just
not
trying to work
actually. I'm,
that
I'm
out.
not. Like, I mean, there's plenty of room. I can see yours is pretty tight, but
Oh,
there's plenty of room. Look at that in mine. It's just too big. That's the problem.
yeah, well, I work out each week at the gym. That's probably the difference there, Brian. But good evening
Yeah.
to you and good evening to all our viewers for another action-packed week.
What is it you actually work out on? I mean, what do you do? Just rock up and go, hello, everyone, and walk out again? Or,
No, I see the machines and I work out which one I go on or not.
yeah, right. Okay. Well, let's hope that starts working for you soon. Now, last week was interesting, was we called different games. I haven't asked you this week what you're doing, but we'll get to that. Obviously, your game, Huntley White Hills. Someone had to win. It looks now, Dave, like White Hills are going to battle after losing.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of making finals, definitely. But yeah, it was a strong win for the home side, 10-18-78 to White Hills 6-5-41. And really the star of the show of that game was Sammy Dunstan up forward kicking 8 goals for the home side. At one stage, I think he had kicked 1 goal 4. I kid you not. He could have really had a big day out had he had his kicking boots on. But to his credit, he came back well, kicked 8 out of the 10 goals. And yeah, he was pretty well one man band up there and found White Hills defenders, I guess, just a bit too much to take for him. But look, it was a good game up until half time. There wasn't much in it, probably about 10 points from memory. But after that, yeah, again, just a frustrating fourth quarter fade out for White Hills. They only kicked two behinds to Huntley 3-7, which basically got them over the line by 37 points in the end, Cox.
The thing is that the question, I did watch a bit of the game, because I put them when we put they're all replayed or live, one or the other, so you can get them on Facebook or
Yeah,
YouTube. A lot of people watching them on their TV on YouTube, which I like. But
yeah.
the question I was going to throw at you was that are players looking from Huntley for Sam Dunstan, or is it him looking to mark everything that goes down there?
Oh, I think it's a bit of both, to be
Is it?
honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a tall guy too, don't forget, and he's got some big jukes on him. And look, he's an obstacle down there for the defenders. And look, it's a bit hard if you're driving the ball forward from the midfield or half forward, not to give it to him because he's a long range kicker as well. So he's got all the tricks under the sleeve to be potent forward, which he's shown he has. Looking at the game itself, better players. I thought Darcy Lawler played pretty well, sweeping the ball across the half back line and also pinching the ruck. I was impressed with Todd Stevenson. Hadn't seen him before, number 26, and he did a really good couple of things. And for White Hills, I was really impressed with young Pat Crawford. I think he's played really well, and also Paddy Conlon was another one who probably should have got in the best. I'm just looking at who got in their best. I know Pat was named in the best, and yeah, he did a couple of smart things, and Mitchy Dole bobbed up for 2 goals as well. So, look, I think in terms of the season for White Hills, they'll still win a couple of games, but yeah, I think top five is probably now out the window for them.
And Huntley, can they make the top five? Can they make the finals?
Well, mathematically they can. We're just done round 10, so we've got another 8 rounds to go. And look, the win on the weekend puts Huntley up to seventh. They're 10 points, so 2.5 games behind Heathcote, who are currently sitting sixth. So, they'll have 7 games to go when you take out the bye. To be 2.5 games, it's going to be a bit touch and go. They'd have to rely on some teams to upset those in the top five and obviously keep winning as they go.
Mount Pleasant, Leachy Gunny, watching some of the scores coming through from Nick on our camera over there, and gee, it was topsy turvy all day. They're not going away anywhere, are they, Leachy Gunny and Mount Pleasant? I know it's Big Downsy's back, mate. Chris, geez, you want him back in the side. Premiership player from last year was their captain, decided to retire, and all of a sudden, he was serving in the canteen there for a while. I think he thought to himself, "I'll just put that Mars bar down and go and have a kick."
The thing is, though, Cogo, yeah, once you stop playing footy, you're a long time out of it, and players
Mm.
don't realise that. And I certainly didn't realise that when I retired, that just how much you miss it. So you can understand why they keep coming back. And yeah, I saw him a couple of weeks ago against Heathcote playing in the twos, and I thought, well, that's a bit strange, but it starts to make sense now that when you've got someone of that caliber, looking to come back into the senior as well, they do need a couple of runs. But you're right, Mount Pleasant probably survived a bit of a scare from Leachfield on the weekend, only winning by the 3 goals. And looking at the game itself, better players. Will Wallace, Chris Down, as you mentioned, Sebby Green and Joel Walton have all had a couple of pretty solid weeks for them. And for League Trill, Blakey Dye up forward, kicking 6 goals. I mean, he's one of the league's premier forwards. We've known how good he's been. And Harley Wales also named in the best, and Josh Costa, I think it is, kicking 2 goals for League Trill. Yep, they had their chance, and they probably think that was probably one that got away. And it was about time that Mounts won at home, given that the last couple of games that they have played at home have been draws there, Brian.
Yeah, they have. And, Leachy Gunny, poor old Maxi Hagan, who was probably the best player last year, goes down in round one with an ACL. Um,
Yep.
Amazing where he would have been, fitted in beautifully, clearly. They've had a few
Yeah.
injuries, but they've come back well. They also played the game against Lockie where they had Dyson Heppel play against them. So they've been a bit stiff.
Yeah.
They're not too far away and probably a bit of a black sheep when it comes to finals, but we're a fair way away. Mount Pleasant, it's going to be, well, they haven't lost a game, have they? Like in a sense, because
Nah, that's right. They've had the 2 draws, no losses. So yeah, so technically undefeated. But good sides do what good sides do, and that's win when they have to. So,
yep.
they're sitting on top of the ladder for a reason there.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. Now, next game we look at last week, North Bendigo and Lockie, and um, they were just watching the replay. North were very physical
Yeah,
to
right.
start with, and I know there was a few issues I can't go into because I think I'm not sure whether the tribunal is meeting tonight or whoever, but there's a few issues with that game. But I reckon they've taken on that. All right, we played a few games early and we lost by a little bit to Lockington, and a few games we should have won. I think Robbie Bennett said, "All right, let's get back to being fair dinkum and actually be bulldogs, be bully about
Yep.
it." Mm,
Yeah, well, they came out kicking 7 goals in the first term to 3 goals for. So,
yeah,
that puts them in a good position. And looking at the last half, they kicked 9 goals, 11. So really set the tone. They had a bit of a quiet patch in that second quarter, only kicking the 1 goal. And look at probably half time 52-41, 2 goals in it. But really that third quarter, Lockington only kicked 2 behinds, which probably put the game out of question. And yeah, North Bendigo went to town on him on the last game. Jordan Ford kicking 6 goals, bit of a pinch
Woody,
forward there, which
yeah.
surprised me a little bit. And Ryan Gillingham kicking 2 as well for the home side. Cody Riddick, just trying to look at him. He can kick any goals this week because he's had a bit of a purple patch. And Riley Pato and Jakey Dean, the other multiple goal kickers. Lockington, just looking at their goal kickers, they had Tommy Leach kick 4, which would have been a good game for him, and pretty much kicked half the score, to be honest. Our man Tyler Phillips only kicking the 1. And Big Bart, did he play? I don't think he did.
No.
No. So, yeah. So, look, Lockington, it's going to be interesting. We have had this conversation already. I think they'll be the team that's going to be battling for fifth with Heathcote. So, yeah. North sending clearly some firing shots to the rest of the competition that they're back.
And the last game was the one we had, which was Colbo and Elmore, and Elmore put up a good fight. Elmore, the problem with the Elmore guys at the moment is that it's not captain obvious if you watch the games, is they go to sleep in one quarter. One quarter
Yeah.
set up last, I think Mount Pleasant, we saw them where they kicked 11 mounts. Colbo
Yep.
got off to a good start. You can't do it, and they fought back really well, and they've got some really good players. Their recruits, Sin Brothers and a few of the others,
Yep.
they've got the players. It's just they have that little sleep. And the captain Holmberg is back in the back line. I mean, he should really be playing either in the middle up forward. Can't do it, I suppose,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have the experience back there. But you got two big
Yep.
fellas in Grenfell and also Alex Carr. By the way, they look similar these days, with the exception of Alex's orange boots. But
Yeah.
they're pretty. There's a pretty good forward line there.
Yeah, look, and I think I had them as one of the threes that probably threatened for the premiership. Yeah, just looking at the quarter by quarter scores. I mean, kicking 6 goals, three in the first quarter, Colbo to 1-1, really just sets the tone for the rest of it. And then they've come out and kicked
Same.
5 goals to two in the second quarter. That that essentially gives them an 8 goal lead at halftime, and it's very hard to catch up from there. To Elmore's credit, they pretty much outscored them in the second half. So
Well, that's what I'm saying.
kicking
Is that,
four goals,
yeah, there's no issue with Elmore. It's just they go to sleep for
no.
one quarter.
Yeah, and that must be frustrating for new coach Luke Freeman. But that's something that he can work on. Between now and the end of the season, try and blood some young kids. I know they haven't got an under-18 sign at the moment, so does he go to the well come 30th June because that's deadline's fast approaching, or
Mm.
do you just put faith in the stock that you got and just try and get some experience and run under the legs?
Well, let's wait and see. But like I said, Elmore got some good players. Sharp, Dwyer, Sin Brothers. Luke Price was good on the weekend. They had a host of good players, but just probably didn't have to take their chances. But that's all they've got to do. They're not that far away.
Yeah,
Probably
right.
not going to make the finals. They know that, but they're not far away.
Yeah, well, looking at the ladder, they're sitting at the very bottom. But still, they could, a one win can propel them to seventh. And football is a funny game, right? And
Really.
season's a funny thing. Yep. So you never
Um,
know.
so let's before we get into this week's games, Dave. What we do now is we call agree or disagree. Now, I think the questions have been mostly coming from me because you've been a slack little boy. So it would be nice to have some of your questions this week. I'll throw one at you for a start. I know you do have some because you did, but the we've got little umpires out there having a crack, boundary umpires. They do a magnificent job, but why are
Yep.
we using the lasso rule in regional footy? It would make it quicker. I mean, poor kids have got to run 1,000 miles to get to the ball. I just sometimes think it's probably quicker to actually do that. Just kick it back in.
Well, it's not just kick it
Do you
back
agree,
in.
by the way?
There's
Do you
got to
agree?
be. I disagree,
Yep.
and the reason why I disagree is it's not just about a kick or a hand passing because it's still offhand and you're still going to need the boundary umpires there. So, and for them, if you're trying to reduce the use of a boundary umpire, potentially you're trying to reduce the experience that they do have and in officiating the game, Brian. So, and not only that, it's a little bit of pocket money for the kids as well. So I say
No, I'm not.
let them
No, you
play.
missed the point. I didn't say get rid of
No,
them. I
I
said
know
the
I haven't
lasso
missed the
rule
point.
is only used rarely when the ball goes a distance and the last person
Yeah.
touched it. I think it's
Well, I was cleared by AFL Central Victoria and all the country leagues that I've seen throughout at the start of the seasons, indicating that there were six rules that they were going to adopt at the AFL.
yep.
Look, the AFL is the premier competition in the land. We all know that, and they got rules that are different to VFL and SANFL as well. So you know, let them do their thing, and we'll stick
Mm.
to the traditional way of umpiring.
Have you got anything this week, Dave?
I do, Brian. Do you agree or disagree that there should be more night games within Central Victoria?
Look, I agree, and the reason I would do that is because they need to be early because like Saturday was cold and a little wet at most places. So that's going to make a cold, wet night. Colbo's lights came on during the last term because it got really dark.
Yep.
I don't know with that kind of weather where I'd want to tour out to a game like that when it's pretty cold and you got the kids, etc. So to say I agree, it would be only the first part of the season and maybe towards the end. I don't know because it gets warmer August, September. I think if I can take it a little bit further than that, I still think that every now and again, even a Friday night game would be better.
Wow.
Particularly if it was at a White Hills or even
Yep.
an Elmore, because I think it would. You're not that. I mean, you can't. Sundays are hard. I mean, so people still work, so you got to get up there
Yeah,
and
exactly.
work. But a Friday night game means that you can play and then maybe go and have the weekend to yourself. I not all the time, but just every now and again. I don't see anyone doing it anymore. None of the other comps do it, but I don't know. I just feel as though that might be a one-off match. And I know when White Hills when they do the Saturday night thing early, it's a big night. So I agree that maybe you need a bit of a mix, but then it's up to the clubs.
Well, I do know of one competition they've been running Friday nights because I've been out that way the last couple of weekends and seen the lights on, and that's in the women's competition, particularly
Mm.
at Eagle Hawk. They've been playing Friday nights out at Canterbury.
It's too cold though, isn't it now?
Well, I'd say we've had a mild winter. We haven't really experienced the coldness yet. I'm just thinking where there's an opportunity, like you said, and that was going to be my next question. Friday nights, why not trial that? And it does allow clubs to free up their resources for the weekend, recovery, etc., etc.
I suppose a lot of clubs would look at it and say, well, hang on a minute, that's all well, but where do the rest of the club play? And that's a fair
Yeah, the
point.
reserves and the under
Yeah,
18s. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
where do they play? Do they play the next day on the Oval without the seniors? I don't look. There's no real answer to it. It may be a Saturday night thing, and I think people would still like to go, but you need to make it, not late, just like 6:30 to
Yep.
start, dinner time, whatever. Go to the footy, have a hamburger or whatever, and away you go. You're done, and you can get in your car and watch it too. That's the best part, but it has to be early.
Or do you flip it and make it the under 18s play on the lights? I think you suggested that a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think the under 18 thing after the seniors is the worst idea because I could imagine if the senior coach had finished and whatever, having a beer, whatever they do, watching the under 18s because I know a lot of them do get there early. I'm sure a lot of coaches do, but you
Yep.
walk into a club and you're the senior coach and the under 18s are playing. I don't think they'll be watching a lot of the game. It doesn't get taped, so they might get there and all of a sudden, have to talk to one of their guys or, someone wants their time and the game's bloody finished. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think that there'd be a lot of people who would love to hang around after the seniors and watch the kids and how good they are and who's coming through.
Now, another question. Do you agree or disagree with two ex-AFL stars playing against each other this weekend out at Newbridge in Gary Ablett Jr. and Gary Ryan as a one-off match, which is going to displace a player out of the normal side?
No, I think I disagree with that. Sorry, I agree. What's the question again? Sorry.
Do you agree or disagree that they should be playing?
I agree they should be playing. Have to be
Yeah,
playing. You have to promote. And I mean, the Jack Bloggs who misses out, I get that, but you're talking about Bridgie and Newbridge, and I'd
Newbridge.
suggest both sides probably would have had changes anyway. So yeah, you got to play them. You got to have them in there. I think it was magnificent up at Lockington. I know you didn't go because you don't go near the old clubs. But it was a great day, and was ask anyone who Leachy Gunny were great too on the day too because they hung around. But it was a magnificent day, well organised, and he still talks about it. Dyson Heppel, but I think to have Gary Ablett Jr. play for your club, what it does, Dave, is that people will be talking about it for years. Oh, when he played here,
Yeah,
when he played that one game, and
yeah,
I think they've got it right with these players because I think Gary's 6 years out of the Gary Ablett Jr. 6 years out of the game, and I think Gary Ryan,
yeah. To 2020, yeah, grand finals
yeah,
his last game.
and Dyson
And
Heppel.
do you,
So.
yeah, do you agree or disagree? Given the large expected crowd out there, that cars should be parked around the boundary.
Doing the grand finals out there last year, there's not that many cars that can park around the boundary, mate, so I wouldn't be worried about that. The only thing I think is the if you are playing against, a club that has an AFL player, they did it well, as in there's a player on each side, whereas, I
Yeah,
think Leachy would have loved to have had an AFL player, and I know it was for a different reason, mental health, but if Leachy had got, say, someone to play a Gary Rowan, you would have went, great, this is terrific, but
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and don't be surprised, that it's not as easy as what they think. We deal with Russell Robinson every Friday from Melbourne, the flyer, and he played with Kangaroo Flat for about 5 minutes because he did a hammy or something, and he just said that the pace is pretty good. So, they're not expecting to go, well, Dyson Heppel's a gun. He is getting 50
yeah, yeah, yeah.
seconds everywhere he goes. So I don't
Plus,
think
you've got plus you got a man crush on him. But let's
no, I
face
don't
it,
have a
that's
man
fine.
crush him at all. What I found with him is he was very down to earth, and unlike a lot of Collingwood players, mate, there was no arrogance there, so it was good. Yeah, it was really intuitive.
Oh,
Gary
you're
Ablett
talking about
Jr.
Dyson Apple, the assistant coach at Collingwood.
Yeah, well, he needs the money, mate. Let's face it. So he has his own teeth, which is a worry. All right, let's move on to this week because there is some. Now, Dave, what are you doing this week? What is the go? I mean, we normally talk off air about
Well,
it.
We've been trying the last few weeks. You calling one game and I'm calling another game. And I think we agreed to do that again this week. I think you're heading up to Lockington. Is that
Yep.
correct?
I got Lockie, Vermorn United, and White Hills.
Yep. So because it starts with Al, I've got this phobia of going to town starting with Al. So I'm going to head down the McIver Highway, and I think this will be another cracker of a game: Heathcote versus Leachfield.
Well, on the fixture, it's reachable, but it's a turnaround game, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
is.
according to Play HQ, this is at Barrack Reserve because I
Yep.
think early in the year they played up at Gumbow from memory.
Now you have our main man Nick with you this week, so look out. Nick will look after you at Heathcote.
Uh, I think it's the other way around. I looked after him a couple of weeks ago
Did
when the
you?
Kangaroos were bouncing across the road, and
Oh
I put on
yeah,
the brakes
right.
on the Ute, and he was behind me. So,
Uh,
but no, I think we got two pretty good games to call. And I think Heathcote Leachfield game in terms of the composition of the five, I think it's going to be a critical game at season's end. So,
mm.
looking forward to doing the call on that one.
That'll be great. Huntley, Mount Pleasant. Poor old Huntley, they've won three in a row, and all of a sudden they come up against Mount Pleasant. So let's just, and it's at home. So we'll see just what happens there.
Yeah, I
Um,
think Mounts will be too strong there for them.
yeah, well, you never know. I mean, who knows? Who's going to play? Will Wallace will probably play on Sam Dunson, you'd think.
Yeah, you think
Get him for
that, or
half.
even Mitchy Bennett can go down there, or you could even put Chrissy down on him as well.
Yeah, Whiting's another one.
Whiting, correct?
Yeah, they've got a few options. I think,
Hindenburg.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot about Bryce. I think with Downsy back in, I'm sure that's like a mentorship for the young bloke Nicholas because
Jet Nicholas,
yeah,
yeah.
he's going to be a gun, but
Yeah,
he's not quite there yet, of course, because he's a kid. So maybe
yeah.
Downsy can help him. I reckon that's got
And
to
look,
be.
that'd be a good battle between Down and Nathan Dunstan. Nathan played really well in the ruck on the weekend. He
Yeah.
had some big hit outs there. So, yeah, that'd be an interesting competition. But, yeah, I just think Mounts will be too strong.
Lockie, obviously, my game against White Hills. You would expect Lockie to win, but they won't have it their own way.
No, that's right. I mean, playing up there, they play that ground pretty well. It's probably a little bit skinnier than what White Hills are used to, so that might test them. And again, it's just going to be a question of how many quarters can White Hills play. I know, speaking to our great mate Damien O'Brien on the weekend, he loves us pumping up White Hills. So, look,
Well,
they're doing well. They're heading in the right direction. And like I've said all year, Brad McConnell's under no illusions where they're at. So, look, they'll make a contest of it, but I think it'll be Lockington at home.
you have a love hate relationship with Damon O'Brien, don't you?
Let's just say we have a mutual respect of each other.
You agree to disagree. Um,
Yeah,
last game
something like
over at
that.
Cobo, they got two games in a row. This time it's North Bendigo. I reckon this is going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Looking at both teams, they're both in probably red hot form at the moment. North Bendigo, last 4 or 5 weeks have really come strong. Colburn haven't put a foot wrong all year either. Probably the only exception to that was their loss against Heathcote at home. So, yeah, look, I'm splitting between, do I go with the home side or do I go with the team that's in form? And just because I know Damien thinks we have this perceived bias towards North Bendigo, I'm going to tip him. I'll say the doggies over at Copenhagen.
Okay. And that's it. Who's got the
Your
bye? Elmore.
Elmore, who
Yeah,
are you
right.
tipping that Colbo North Bendigo game?
Oh,
Cubs?
look, I think from what I saw last week, if North Bendigo get on a run, and the ground's a little bit bigger than North, so I get that. I think North, but just. I think Colbo
Yeah,
played their ground clearly very well, but it
yeah,
depends who matches up on the two big fellas down the back. It's, they're
yeah,
both very sticky hands.
yeah. And look, it'd be a battle of the four lines. You got Dylan Clem and Jakey Towers at one end, and
Yep.
Grenfell and Carr down the other end. So really, the easiest way to stop either end from firing is to win the ball out the middle. So
Yeah, exactly.
and get it down to your forward line.
No other news because we're going forever. But what I do know is that my sources told me that Kahuna will have another crack at the HDFNL. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know how successful that was. If anyone watched the netball show before this, I did ask the girls the same thing, how they would feel about not having a bye in the comp. And I think they're all used to having that bye now where they don't like it because it takes them out of their thing they do every week. But at the same time, they go, oh, geez, that was good. We didn't have to play.
Yeah, and you asked me this question a couple of weeks ago, and upon reflection, it's not bad having the bye, particularly for teams that have got injuries and stuff like that. That extra week off can freshen up a side. And look, I think the competition's humming along. It's been humming along for probably the last 10 years. With a 19 competition. If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah, that's true. Also, the distance. I know the HDFnl board would, well, when I say I know, I'm not on it, but I would think they'd be thinking of travel. It's a fair way. I mean, the longest
Yeah,
stretch now is Heathcote to Leachy which is probably an hour and three quarter. Would I be wrong? Close to
yeah,
that.
close to
Yeah,
2 hours. So then you're going another what, 20
half
minutes
an
up the
hour.
road to
Yeah. So you
yeah,
got
20 minutes up the road to
Heathcote
Kahuna.
to Kahuna's a bloody long way. Well, even Bendigo to Kahuna's close on 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
Right.
you'd be looking 2.5 hours. It's probably
Yeah.
stretching the friendship a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, probably a little bit. You've got a gag or two, Dave, to wrap us up, mate.
Just before we do, and this is definitely no means club bashing, but I just noticed in the Bendigo Footy League again, Broadford having another 200 plus defeat. I'm just interested in, your thoughts about their long term sustainability in the BFNL, Brian.
Well, I think, I was always suspect when Strathfield say came into the comp and the Bendigo thinking
Yeah,
no way they're going to be competitive because that's a strong comp. And
yeah,
they weren't at the start. No, and they went out and got some diggers players, as you remember. Who was the first
yep.
coach that played at Ed Hawk too?
Clint, we
Clint.
said,
We'd
yeah,
said, yeah, Clint, good bloke, Clint. But he couldn't do what he had to do. So then they had to bring in others that could, get more players. They got there eventually,
yeah,
but they also
Hilltop,
have a community and what I mean, a growing community out there at
yeah,
Strathfield Say. So they got there. If you look back now, you'd say, oh, they made it blue, but they didn't. But I can't see Broadford in 2 or 3 years being Strathfield Say. So
no,
I think they will, I was talking to a guy the other day that played at Lancefield and they're in that Riddell or Riddle, whichever way you want to
Riddle,
go.
yeah,
Riddle competition, which is, not overly strong, but still good. And he came across to Broadford, because of a mate of a mate of a mate who's playing seniors there. Now, Lancefield, I don't think they're a powerhouse in that comp. So that goes to show that you're recruiting all due respect to him, but you're not recruiting big name players to get to your club. And I don't know whether they've got the capability of doing that. I think they should have started or
yeah,
should have been in the Riddle League.
yeah. Look,
And
and
there's
that's
no,
my
and they can
concern.
still do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's right. And there's no shame. And this definitely not, bashing the committee because I know how bloody hard it is to get them up and running, particularly a club that's been in recess. So well done to them. My
mm,
concern is the long term viability of the personnel because, if you're a player and you're getting, thumped 200 points week in, week out, there comes a point where you just got to say it's getting too hard. I'm going to seek alternative clubs. And that's the concern I
well,
have for
let's put it
Broadford.
into a business sense, Dave, and that is that they've got a great little club. Don't get me wrong, and they're all
Yep.
having a crack, and players will go and leave. They'll do that at any club, but it's a bit like having a great business in a place where you're paying way too much rent and you're never going to get ahead. So what you have to do
Yep.
is say, right, let's go to a competition where we're not paying as much rent. We're going to
Yep.
be competitive and players and people will stick around. They'll stick fat, but you're not going to win a game
Nah, that's
in
right.
this competition. Well, you're not going to do it this year, and I'm not sure if you're going to even do it next year. So I wish them
Nah,
all the
that's right.
best, but it's a tough gig, but I feel for everyone that's in part of it because,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
quite the right way to go.
Nah, exactly. Now, Brian, two hunters went buffalo hunting every summer without success. Finally, they came up with a foolproof plan. They got a very authentic female buffalo costume and learnt the mating call of a female buffalo. The plan was to hide in the costume, lure the bull buffalo, and then come out of the costume and shoot the bull. They set themselves up on the edge of the waterway, donned their costume, and began to give the buffalo love call. Before long, their call was answered as a bull buffalo came crashing out of the forest and closer to the water's edge. When the bull was close enough, the guy in the front said, "Okay, let's get out and get him." After a moment that seemed like an eternity, the guy in the back shouted, "The zipper is stuck. What are we going to do?" The guy in the front said, "Well, I'm going to start nibbling the grass. You better brace yourself."
Dave, that's actually something better for you. Yeah. Someone sent me a joke in about you as a policeman, Dave the Copper,
Right.
right? And he's cruising around Bendigo. This is back in the 80s, cruising
Yeah,
around
right.
Bendigo looking for people doing the right and wrong thing. And he went out to Queen Street, Bendigo, right, where
Yep.
you do blockies. And
Yep.
first car was jumping up and down, and Dave the cop, when he went over there, and Dave, in your voice, he said, yeah, opened the door, he said, "Hey, what's going on in the back there?" And they said, "Oh, no problems, Officer Dave. We're just doing the waltz. We're having a waltz in the back." And he went, "Oh, fair enough." Dave walks off. Next car, it's jumping up and down and carrying on. Dave goes and opens the door. He said, "Hey, what's going on in the back of this car?" This is in Queen Street, Bendigo, Dave. And anyway, they said, "Oh, we're actually, hey, Dave, the copper, Sergeant David, we're doing the tango here." And he went, "Oh, right, like, yeah, yeah, we're just practicing the tango in the back." And anyway, Dave's gone, "This is a bit silly. You can't be dancing in the back of the car." And he looks up, here's another car. Here's another car jumping, it's bouncing, it's carrying on. And anyway, the Copper Dave, Inspector Dave, walks up. He's now an inspector. He just got promoted. He opens the door, and he said, just before he opens the door, he's angry. He's like, they're putting something over, they're pulling the wool over my eyes. So he grabs the door, he wrenches it open, and he says, "What are you doing? I suppose you guys are doing the boss an over." The lady pops up and she says, "Well, actually, I'm doing the boss a favor." There you go, Sergeant Dave.
Wow, Inspector Dave now, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, Inspector. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you. We will nick off and look forward to some calling this weekend, eh?
Yeah, some more great HDNFL action, round 11, thanks to our sponsors. And again, we'll see you on the weekend.
Thanks to Agnico Eagle and the police force with Inspector Dave over there.
That's it.